welcome to the Subversive Stitch Knitting Podcast. My name is Anna Marie, and yeah, I'm gonna try and not edit this, or edit this as little as possible, but I'm not a very coherent or fluent speaker, so I hope you can bear with me. Yeah, it's been not ages and ages, but I posted the anyway, I'm kind of delaying in posting these podcast episodes, so they're slightly out of sync with how long is actually between them, I think. But it's been enough for me to have some things that are finished, also to have something that I spoke about being partially finished, and also a project I think I talked about I've started. Anyway, that probably didn't make much sense, but that's fine. Yeah, so I just wanted to have a bit of a chat. So we will start with things that I finished. We'll start with talking about knitting. So I knit this scarf. It's very ugly. I kind of feel like it's very lesbian-y from the colours, which is always good. Ugly lesbianism is my brand. But yeah, it uses, basically I knit this scarf partially because I was I don't know what to use my hand spun that I showed off in the past video, which is this one, for, and I didn't have loads of it, and I had this really wonderful scrappy scarf that I had, and I basically lost it, and I hope you can't hear that. I'm sorry if you can. So much for not editing. I moved over here because there was a noise, and I'm pretty sure you could hear it. I think the light might be actually better over here, but whatever. So I was talking about this scarf that I made, and then I used pretty large needles. I used 12mm needles, and I also decided to, so because I have a wool sensitivity, and some wools I'm just 100% allergic to, and some it's just I couldn't have them on various parts of my body. I put the hand spun, which isn't super difficult against my skin, but against my neck skin, which is obviously pretty sensitive and is one of the sensitive places, I knew I couldn't have it there, certainly not for if I want to be warm and be wrapped up in it. So I decided to use this yarn, which is just very silly, and I held it double, which also is kind of silly, but I just, I was just kind of knitting with this project, and it's just an acrylic bubbly snuggly cedar yarn, that's this. I have a lot more of it left than I imagined I would, to be honest. So and then I also used this woody tweed that I held double, which isn't super soft, but it's fine enough to use, and it's 100% recycled fibers, which I guess is good, although I don't know, I'm just quite cynical, I guess, of the industry and how the fiber industry and how it markets its sustainable products, because a lot of it is sort of lying or at least when industries create standards for themselves and then certify themselves with it, then you really have no idea if it's actually genuinely a good thing for the environment, or at least less bad, or if it's just another way to make a profit, greenwashing. But yeah, so this was in the project that I showed in the last podcast that I had finished, the self-drafted raglan, and I still have a bunch of it left. So again, this I feel is lasting me forever, but I do really like the colour pink it is and stuff. And yeah, so then it's all come together like this, and the idea is that these bits I can put close to my skin, and then the other bits around, and I haven't done anything with the ends. In fact, I kind of encouraged ends. And I think I'm gonna leave it like that because I like how scrappy it looks, and obviously it was also to replace this particular scrappy scarf I made before, which I also didn't weave at the ends. There were many, it was a different, it wasn't just 3 different kinds of yarn, it was a lot more varied, and I still miss it, but yeah, I'm hoping that this will be good, and I think we're kind of in the season where wearing it will be good. I'm sitting right next to the radiator and it's cooling down, but it's still pretty hot, so I don't want to wear this for long. And I guess, yeah, normally you would wear like something, but I've got this blanket which I crocheted, which I'm sitting with, so that's all I've got. But yeah, so there's that project that I finished, which is the only knitting project I've finished. As for other kinds of projects, I have this really beautiful, in my opinion, spinning project I finished. I showed the singles in the last video, but I plied them together. I'm literally so happy with how this yarn came out. I feel like it's the most uniform and like beautiful yarn I've made with my spindles so far. And I can't quite remember how much I have of it, maybe about 40 grams, which is much less than I thought I would have, to be honest. I thought I would have much more, but I just forgot that I had actually already used some of the wool for my very first yarn. But yeah, so I have it in 3 skeins. Yeah, it's a Jacobs, and the other thing about this project is that like it kind of made me really appreciate this color grey, which like is not something I thought I would ever say about grey. Yeah, I said how uniform it is, and now I'm looking at it and being like, but it's definitely the most uniform that I've made, and I think it's fluffed up like once I wet it and thwacked it and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think it is really nice. I think I also talked about this in the last episode, but basically I think I'm gonna make like a little rat out of this, and then maybe use a cute colour for like the ears, and the nose. But yeah, I'm not like super, unlike with my other handspun, I'm not like super gearing to like knit something with it immediately. I'm kind of just enjoying like appreciating it. And like, yeah, so this Jacobs, like it's definitely more sheepy than like the other handspun, which was like a mix of a bunch of stuff. I think I said it in my Tour de Fleece spinning video, but I don't think I said it in the last podcast. I should have looked that up, sorry. But that one I think has some like merino, has some BFLs, that kind of thing. It was like a mixture. Whereas yeah, this is just 100% Jacobs, and yeah, very happy with it. Very much looking forward to more things I can spindle. Okay, so the next thing that I made are these, which are needle felted, and they look kind of wild. I mean, they are very bright yellow in parts and too, but I do think it's making it slightly brighter. Basically, these are me trying to needle felt like an S-rug, which is a form of citrus fruit, which you use during a Jewish festival called Sukkot. And this was the first one I made, which was kind of like me testing it out, and like I didn't quite like the size, or like the shape. Actually, it's not really the size is fine. So then I made this one, which I think is okay, but I think I needed to make it taper more in order to get the size more, because I think one of my friends said it looked like corn, and now I can't look at it and think that it doesn't look like corn. I mean, S-rugs like have a lot of variation to them, like they look quite different, or like they're differently shaped, and you can get really large ones and stuff like that. So, you know, I think it's fine that these are all a bit varied. I needle felted them for a friend, but yeah, I guess I'll get onto that. But like, then I made this one, and I made it with a different technique in terms of making the shape as from the first two, to see if that would help out. And I do think this one's probably my most, well, I think it's my favourite / most successful one, although like, yeah. And I'm also happy with how I made the texture, although it's definitely larger than the texture that is found on S-rugs. Like they're normally, the sort of variation in the skin pattern is generally a bit smaller, but it's pretty hard to do that, or at least like for me, who's I have done needle felting before, but not loads. I've just done I needle felted a bunch of really cute mushrooms for my friends, but that was like a couple years ago, so like yeah, yeah. And then I also made this final one, which again was, I was like trying, instead of putting more felt or wool on to felt. I was just trying to make the pattern on the skin with my needle. So I made this one, which, like, to some degree, I mean, I like the stalk a lot better than on the others. I found tapering the end of them really difficult, but I don't know, I don't think it's super successful, but I'm okay with that. Basically my plan is to take these to Shul and to offer them to my friend to see, like, and then she can decide which one she wants. And then I have another friend who I can give one to, and then it would be great if I could have one as well. I also thought maybe I'd give one to my rabbi, but I'm not sure about that. Like, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, but I just thought, like, that would be cute, and, like, I'm gonna give her the choice and, like, present it in a little box. And basically, like, people get very intense about their estrogs, and, like, they take out those, like, jeweler glasses things and look at the skin and, like, try to find the most perfect esrog, because if you're gonna because of the sort of mitzvah of, like, hidden mitzvah where for things to sanctify God, they should be as beautiful as possible. So I thought, yeah. Anyway, so there's those. Yeah, I just got this, like, needle felting kit from eBay. Like, I do actually have, like, another needle felting kit, I'm pretty sure, but I think it's in a different country, so I just decided I would get some. And yeah, I got, like, one of those sort of 6-pack of, like, various different coloured greens, because I wasn't sure, and obviously on computers it can be hard to tell, and I kind of wanted to thread green a bit more than I maybe did through them, but that's partially because these were the greens I got and I didn't really feel like any of them quite worked. The one I actually did end up using was this one, which I felt like kind of worked, but almost, I don't know, it was just hard to tell. And then I thought maybe this one actually could have been closer, but to be honest, I think it's way too, like, vibrantly green. And yeah, and then I only have a bit more left of my yellow. I mean, again, I think if I had also maybe bought, like, multiple colours of yellow, like different shades, that could have maybe made them work a little bit better too. But, you know, first of all, you live and you learn, but second of all, I think it's okay. And like, I struggled quite a lot to find yellow as a wool colour, but I was really lucky with this because I got loads and loads. Like, I paid more for these tiny amounts of green than I did for this, and, like, I got, like, so much of the yellow. Like, you can kind of tell from how many esrogs I made, but, like, yeah. So yeah, but there's that. I think that's the final project that I finished. So then in terms of projects that are in progress, I think I only really have one major one to talk to you about, and then, like, one kind of one. Well, yeah, and then, like, some other bits and bobs. So, oh, should I try this on and try to show you what it looks like? Okay, I'm gonna try it on. So yeah, I talked about making this, like, last podcast episode. I don't believe I had started it. I'm not really wearing a good top to wear under this, but, like, this is based off of, and, like, kind of inspired by the self-drafted raglan I made, where I made these, like, massive sleeves. And, like, okay, it's not quite how it will fit, but, like, yeah. But I love the sleeves on the raglan so much, so I kind of wanted to do that again. But then, like, I didn't, like, necessarily like the body, and I also quite like the idea of, like, one of those very cropped, yeah, like, wrap tops or whatever that just, like, have a little bit on the torso and then are mostly sleeve. So that's what this is. So I've knit one sleeve, I haven't sewn in the ends, but, like, I think it looks great. Also, I think it looks great with my mesh on my hands, to be honest. And yeah, so I've got a couple more rows on the second sleeve, and then I will go back to the torso and, yeah, figure out kind of, like, how I'm gonna bring it all together. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna end it with some ribbing, but yeah, I made this up as I went along, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, I guess my main idea is kind of just to pick up stitches along here and then knit in the round for a little bit and then knit the ribbing and then cast off, because I don't want it to be very long. But yeah, I think it looks great. I've been using this like hobby yarn that I actually got like a little while ago, and then I started knitting socks with it, and then I was just like, I was knitting them on like maybe 2.25 needles or something, and I was just like, I'm not doing this, like there's no way I'm doing this. I just don't think I'm gonna be a person who knits socks on 2.25 needles. But yeah, so I've got one that is a variation that's black, green, another kind of green, blue and purple, or like a purpley blue. And then I've got this other variation which I've just been doing for the increased sleeves, which I really like, as like I think it's looking great. And that is grey, a kind of like yellow, like a yellowy green, a bright green, and then a darker green. And yeah, there's also kind of like a little bit of black in there occasionally, but it's not, it's more like occasionally you get a green and black like bit which fades in and out. So yeah. And of course, when you're knitting sleeves like this, like it gets longer and longer to finish around. So I do have quite a lot of knitting left to go, but like not, you know, loads obviously, like I still, but yeah, very happy with how it's going out. Oh yeah, and I used 6mm needles for this project. So yeah, I actually do have one more ball of this yarn left, although I mean I might finish this one doing the, you know, finishing off the torso bit, but I'm not really, I don't think I will, to be honest, but I mean we'll see. I guess it depends how I end up doing it. But yeah, I imagine I'll have a bit left of this, and then obviously I have a whole other one of this other, which is good because like honestly I really like that I could just be like, oh, I want to knit something a bit like gothy and like spooky, and I could. It looks very weird, doesn't it, just like when I hold it like this, but yeah, when I hold it like this it looks more like understandable. So yeah, that's my knitting work in progress. Should I split this up in crafts instead of like finished objects to non-finished? I don't know. Tell me what you think. In a way I feel like it would be more like cohesive, but maybe not. So another project that I just kind of started, and I guess I just thought I'd mention, even though yeah, it's not like a major thing, and I don't know, I just kind of started doing it because I was like, I'm not spinning anything, and I obviously like to spin things. But yeah, I'm spinning a little bit of yarn from this. It's like a greeny, it's like a very seaside colour, I feel. There's like blue, and there's green, and there's yellow in it. And actually this was some yarn that some wool that I bought when I was looking for colours to make the S rugs. And like, obviously it's not the right colour, but I really liked it. But I just couldn't really figure out what I wanted, and then I thought like maybe if it arrived I could like separate out the colours a little bit, but like I didn't. I also like, it's not really, you know, made to be spindle spun really, or like spun, I don't think, to be honest, but I'm doing it. And that's fine. But yeah, I don't, you know, I don't have like any plans for this again. It's just because like I got the wool for needle felting, and then I was like, this isn't gonna work, so then I was like, well, I could, yeah, spin. Yeah, there's that little project. And then I have this other thing, which again, like the reason why I said it wasn't really like in progress, but I guess I wanted to show it, is because I think I did talk about getting a fleece, or some of a fleece, in my last podcast video, but I don't think I like actually spoke about it or showed you any of it or anything like that. And maybe I hadn't washed any of it yet, but I'm not sure. But I have now washed like a bit of it, so I'm keeping it like in this bag. It's a Zwalpler's fleece. I don't know what I'm doing, so this is all like a learning experience for me. And I am a little bit concerned that I've maybe felted some of it, but yeah, so it needs to be, I've decided like I'm gonna use wool combs to turn it into fibre that is ready to be spun from. And I'm also kind of hoping to maybe use my spinning wheel with this. Sorry, I knocked my camera off. I was talking about this. What am I saying about it? Yeah, I'd like to use my spinning wheel because yeah, there's like a lot of it, and I think it would be a great project to kind of like get stuck into and like hopefully make some progress getting better with my wheel. I didn't wash very much of it. It's obviously also hard to tell like how much I'm gonna have, because obviously I'm a beginner, and then also some parts of a fleece like you can't make usable, or maybe like you have to have particular skills. I don't have any wool combs, and like I need to get some, which is why this project has like stayed as it is for a little while, and it's partially because like I didn't have money to buy them, and then also like I had all of these other projects that I needed to do, like the S-Rugs, like they're timed, they need to be ready for circus, which they are, so that's good. But yeah, so it's been left for a little while, and like I mean I could also wash some more fleece I guess in the meantime, but I've just been like enjoying knitting this, and like yeah, enjoying some other projects, which is fine. You know, like it's a long-term project, it's gonna take a while, and yeah, I'm also like, wool combs do seem to be really expensive. There's also like a shop where you can get 3D printed combs, but that's not currently in business. Like I mean it's taking a break is what I mean, so that also frustrated my plans a little bit, but yeah, I'm like very excited about this project, and I am very excited to see it like work out. So yeah, there's that half project, work in progress, not really though. And then I thought I would talk about some plans. Actually, yeah, before I talk about a plan I have, I wanted to show off this little guy. So this is a Jalagan spindle. I'm pretty sure I actually did talk about like how much I wanted to spin with a Jalagan in my last episode. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this Corriedale that I have to learn how to spin with it, because it has a long staple length. So I'm hoping that will help me out. But yeah, so I got this from a place on Etsy. And I have not started to learn yet because yeah, I've just been like busy, and then also I do feel a bit like at the moment I just haven't really had the like spoons to learn a new skill. Like I'm okay doing stuff I know how to do, and like that's yeah, but then with like learning a new skill I feel like I need to have a bit more brain space and like able to focus for an extended period of time. Like I kind of did start to try to kind of set it up to start spinning, but honestly like when it first arrived, but I was like, there's no way, this is silly, like I'm too tired for this. But yeah, I mean hopefully by the next podcast maybe, although it is an exceptionally busy time, so maybe the one after, I'll have like made a bit of progress, because I've never used a clasped spindle before. I know some people spin this as a top wool spindle, like that's not a drop spindle is the word I'm looking for, but from the sort of like historical evidence it doesn't seem like that's actually how these were used, and instead it should be kind of seen alongside Russian and French clasp spindles, where you yeah, there you go, exactly. No, but you like very briefly let go of it to spin it, and then you clasp it again, but that as a result I think requires yeah, some different skills than I already have with the drop spindling that I can do, but I am very excited to get into learning about that, so yeah. And then the last like thing to speak about is I have a little, so I've gone into the idea of like goth clothing and like aesthetics. I mean I also do love like 80s music, although obviously there's a lot of fraught stuff around like goth identity, so I'm not really interested in going down that rabbit hole. But I don't have that many black clothes, and so I'm gonna dye some clothes. But I also actually think that for this dress it's gonna help the most, because I have this dress which is black, but it's a very like faded black, and I was actually originally going to start using it for like scrap, but then I had this moment of being like, oh, I want to dress like in black clothes and like be a bit more goth, so I got this out of my mending like pile box, and yeah, when I was wearing it I was like, yes, this is okay, but like I just want this to be an actual proper black instead of like a faded grey black. so I thought I could re-dye it. So then yeah, that's what I'm definitely going to use this for. I do also have some fishnet tights that I'm going to dye. These have already suffered by me dyeing, which you can definitely tell from how like terribly dyed this is. I'm not really sure like when or how I did this, but yeah. So then I'll have some more black fishnets, which will be fun, and I'm gonna like go through my clothes and see if there's others that I want to dye over the top of, or not. I actually think I might do a little experiment and dye some of the fabric that I have left over from the skirt with the like pumpkin farmers on that I showed in my last episode, to see like if that works, because I think it could look cool. And I was watching this like DIY goth YouTuber, sort of like alt goth punk YouTuber, who like over dyed a skirt with orange, and it came out like kind of good, and the skirt had like a pattern, it wasn't like white, and so I thought perhaps the pumpkins might look cool. I don't know if it will work at all, but like I'm just gonna experiment, because yeah, I have some of that fabric that like I'm not sure what I would use for, so if I dye it black then I can maybe like patchwork a dress together from it, maybe just kind of like an A-line skirt but with like patches of the fabric. And then also I guess I could like put in some of the other Halloween fabric that I used from the other dress I showed, other skirt I showed, I mean, in the last episode with the witches. And actually I could also put some of the plaid like check or whatever from the other skirt that I showed in that episode too. I don't know, it's all coming together. Well, yeah, anyway, so that's like a future project too, and I look forward to doing that. I hope it works out. And yeah, this is the type of dye where you like put it in the washing machine, so that is what I will be doing. I don't think there's anything else left for me to show. I do kind of wish that I had managed to finish off the second sleeve so I could have like shown it, the sleeves off properly, but I mean you kind of got the sense from this other one, and it is just like so big. I made them like much bigger than the other sleeves, or like yeah, I made them longer and then I also did I think make them bigger, but yeah, I'm really happy. And I also made the sleeve much like thinner, like it's much closer to my arm in this version than the ones that I made with the self-drafted raglan I showed, and like that was on purpose, and it's because like I prefer that. I think it's a fun look, and I also think it makes the sleeves, the sleeve increases look even more like increased, if that makes sense, you know, because the contrast. Okay, yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to share today. Let me know if you are knitting or spinning or doing other creative stuff, needle felting. Yeah, and definitely know, like, let me know your like needle felted tips or ideas or whatever. Like I don't think I'm gonna be like a consistent needle felter, but I do like that I have it as something that I can like turn to when I want to do a particular kind of project that it would be good to do as a needle felt. Yeah, and yeah, also if you know any good like wrap patterns for knitting that are free, let me know for these. Yeah, there's just like something about this grade that's like actually interesting to me. But I mean, maybe that's just because I made it, like it's my handiwork, you know, but like it could also be that it's not so terrible for grey. Okay, I will stop being weird. And yeah, I hope you're having a nice day when you see this, and I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye.